Greetings. Introducing Voices of Festival, brand new podcast series from the International African Arts Festival, created to keep you connected as we count down to our 55th year of culture, creativity, and community. Each week, hear directly from the artists, dancers, musicians, vendors, and community members who make this festival an unforgettable experience. Tune in every Thursday at 8 p.m. on YouTube for Voices of Festival. Celebrate the culture, feel the rhythm, be part of the journey. Greetings. Abadigani, Hotep, Salamu Alaikum, Alafia, Akwaba. Welcome to Voices of Festival. I'm Adeyemi Bandeli, and I'm joined by Naima Akinwole Bandeli and Sakina Nzinga Kennard. Good to have you all with us. This is our second show, and we're off to a good start. Our guest this evening is a brother that I've been working with now, I guess probably for about 10 years, and with such tremendous respect as an institution builder. Kofi Osei-Williams is the executive director of Asase, and he's joining us today. But before he comes in, I just want to remind folks of something we talked about last week, which is the importance of this vehicle. Voices of Festival is consistent with the history of the East through festival of having a communications arm. We have had Black News, which was our major means of communication. But then we also had several radio shows on WWRL, WLIB, WPFW. So we have maintained communication. And so this is in keeping with that tradition. So we're glad to have you joining us. You're part of a journey. Who knows, 10 years from now, Naima or Sakina are going to be asking you, how long have you been on the journey with us? So right now, let's bring in Kofi Osei-Williams, Sasaya.
Peace, family.
Greetings, Kofi. Good to have you, sir. Good to have you.
Thank you.
Listen, I'm going to run three quick questions, and then Naima and Sakina have got some questions for you. But mine, quickly, the meaning of Asase, 2, the connection to Nana Dini Zulu, and 3, the connection to Ghana.
All right. So Asase means Mother Earth, and it's really the spirit of Mother Earth. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to share our experience as African artists raised here in Brooklyn and Bed-Stuy, and we wanted to share it throughout the world. So we used the Sasaya because we was raised in the Akan tradition here in New York, and the language that the Akan people speak is Tree, and Asasaya is a Tree word. So you said our connection with Nana Dini Zulu. When my mother was still in college at Albany State University, she used to come down from Albany with her friends and come to Nana Dini Zulu ceremonies. This is in the 60s and very early 70s, where they would have ceremonies in Queensbridge and in Long Island City. And she would come down, because at that time, a lot of people, they really wanted to connect back with Africa. They wanted to show their connection with Africa. So over the years, my mother, she would come to the festivals and the different events Nana Dini Zulu was having. And when she came back to New York, when she graduated school and came back to New York, she ended up joining his organization, which was called Aims of Mojawe. And during that time, she became a priest, a Khan priest, what we call a Konfos, and which made her even closer and even more committed. Is my brother Yao. My mother was taking him to public school one day, and when she was taking him, he would not go in the building. He would not get off of her leg, and she didn't force him because it was It was people and teachers that he wasn't comfortable and used to. And so my mother started her own school that day. This is about 1977. She started her own school, 77, 78. And this school was a school that was housed in Nana Denny Zulu's building on Sufton Boulevard. It was called Bosum Jimawoji Day School. And she started this school. And at that school, of course, me and all of my brothers and sisters went to that school. And, that's where we really had a love for just African culture, for drumming, for dancing. My sister, who was older than us, and she was in the Denny Zulu company from the age of 13. And some of the highlights of our year was Denny Zulu performing at Dance Africa, but really performing at festival, because Dance Africa, you got to sit in your seat. You got to, at festival, you get to go with your friends. You get to be with your friends. Your parents, everybody that had kids at festival, nobody could say that they held their child's hand the whole time they was there. You let them free. We was free at festival. And one thing I got to play with so many companies there, but it all started with Denny Zulu. So that was something that was a real great experience. And then my connection in Ghana. So prior to Ghana, so we grew up in a Khan tradition here in New York City. And you know we went to school in my mother's school from kindergarten to 8th grade. Then we went to high school. I went to professional performing arts school. I didn't go directly to college. Me and my brother Quasi, we went to Guinea. And we went to Guinea and we worked with Ballet Joliba and Ballet Africans and Merveille and all of the big companies. Like, we were in Guinea in gross. We was in Guinea the first time, I think 9 weeks. The first time we went straight out of high school. And we didn't call home, so our mothers was pissed at us. You know, and we had a great time in Guinea. We learned a lot about the culture, and they talked a lot in Guinea about Sekou Touré, Kwame Nkrumah, their connection, and they were big time revolutionaries that you hear about when you go to Guinea, you see the culture. You're like, wow, this is amazing. After that, my next trip to Africa, we went to Guinea and Ghana. Since then, that was 2000. We're in 2025. I've been to Ghana at least 40 times since 2000 to now. I have land there. I trained myself to be I didn't train myself, but I trained to be a konfo in the village called Ayame Bechere. And this village was a small, tiny village. A lot of people go there now. Even 2 years ago, Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union came there and they did a naming ceremony there. All of that. I have some really good friends that are doing great work. But I trained in Ghana, and that was important. But one thing that I could never leave, even during my training, like, they didn't want me drumming and stuff, but that's what I do. So during my whole time, I was drumming. I was really getting with that stuff. So, the I comb drumming, like, that's one of my specialties because of the amount of time I spent in Ghana.
Uh-huh. So I see that you got this tradition of institution building honestly from your
Yes.
mother.
Yes.
From your mother. Yeah, very
Yeah,
good.
with a real
Listen, I
pride.
owe Naima Salim a moment. I owe Naima a big round of apologies because I just took you for granted you've been with us, but I didn't allow you to introduce yourself because you weren't with us in our first show. So Naima Akinwole Bandeli, would you please introduce yourself?
Peace, everyone. I'm Naima, the granddaughter, first grandchild of Ariame Bandele, and also a festival child. So I grew up going to festival and grew up in the community, going to cultural institutions that everyone who went to festival has created. So I'm very, very grateful to be able to experience life as I had with all these within all these institutions. You know, Baba Ose just mentioned his sister Nana Fua. And Afua was, you know, my leader at Rites of Passage at Asase when I was younger. So there's just so many overlaps and a lot to be grateful for here. So I'm very excited for this podcast. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So, Sakina, I know you had some questions going back, so please.
Definitely. I just wanted to roll back a little bit and just, acknowledge that Kofi Osei Williams is a actual product of the Pan-African movement, of being born in America, but linking and being rooted back into African culture. From a youth, and now is the executive director of a cultural arts organization that is paying it forward to the next generation. So I just wanted to just highlight that. And you mentioned Nana Dini Zulu. Can you really speak to the history of Nana Dini Zulu here in the States? Like who is he and
Yeah.
what is his contributions?
So Nana Dini Zulu was, to me, a very, very special person. He, when he started his company many years ago, he used to open up for Malcolm X. And that connection, that revolution was amazing because, at that time, Malcolm X was with the Nation of Islam, right? So you have Islam and you have Nana Dini Zulu, who first started an organization called Dumbalawedo with Baba Surgeman, who started Oyo Tunji down in South Carolina. And
Mm-hmm.
so you had these pioneers, Chief Bay, you had these pioneers that worked together to free our people mentally, culturally, And so Nana Dini Zulu, he went in the 60s, he went to Ghana and he got a reading. In that reading, it said that he was the child that was supposed to return to help to free his people here. And in that reading, when he came back to America, the truth is always going to speak for itself. Is that hundreds of people came and not only just the Khan tradition, but also things like his dance company. People were exposed to African culture because everybody that was exposed to him, and tons of people will tell you, they didn't just become a Khan. Some people became Yoruba. Some people even went to Islam, went to different places. But that freedom to know that what they were doing, had meaning to it, and it had a blessing to it. It meant a lot. Like I said, my mother was coming from college, upstate New York, down to his ceremonies. My father was a little different. My father was a Pan Africanist. One of his closest friends was Sonny Carson. And when we were young, this is some scary times when crack was running rampant through Brooklyn. And Sonny Carson and the Black Men's Movement against crack and Viola Plummer and all of these people, we would be out we was the young boys, but we would be out and they would run up in crack houses and close down crack houses, right? So when I see certain things happening, it's not a trigger, but it's something that is meaningful to have something like a Sasaya that is for the culture. And when I say the culture is the way we live, so it's not just African culture, it's not just Black culture, it's not just West Indian culture, but it's our culture. And it's us teaching our kids, how to go. So, having somebody like Nana Dini Zulu that I was directly connected with, having somebody like Sonny Carson that I was directly connected with, having, I couldn't pass by a sister's place without Viola pulling me inside and introducing me to, but even having Baba Adeyemi here, and Lumumba was here in my office yesterday, just schooling me. I was just here, just taking it all in. You know what I'm saying? Like taking it all in. And and my daughter's going to Spelman this year. So Lumumba's like, yo, you gotta come by because she has to talk to Monifa because you get what I'm saying? And this is our culture. This is how things go. And so, what I can't even take all the credit for Sasaya because our community is so powerful that I just inherited.
Well, listen, wonderful place to break because we're going to take you back to July of last year. And those of you who are watching, if you didn't make it, suffer. But know that next year you should come on out. Back to you. Beware. Yes. Listen, I want to continue on this track of institution building. As you very well know, one of the challenges that we face with Festival is our funding and our access to resources to really present the kind of festival that we would like. But you have been very successful. Tell us what it is because, folks don't understand what it takes to run an institution. And you have established one and are now running it. How you do it?
The first thing is I spent a lot of time with just my elders and just learning. For example, I used to just go to Boys and Girls High School and just sit with Baba Stan Kennard, and he would put me on about how to get into schools and the people to talk to. And he would introduce me to people, and when I would meet these people, I wouldn't meet them humbly. Right. And I'm not saying I was boasting and bragging, but I would meet them and have tons of questions because if Baba Stan was putting me on with them, I needed to make sure that I did his introduction some justice. Right. And so things like that. And then just the truth is I went to school for certain things. I went to school for nonprofit leadership. I went to school for finance. I went to school for organizational leadership because I just knew that it was some things that were missing. The community is such a beauty. Our community is such a beauty, but sometimes when I grew up, my father used to say things like, the people that made the money were part of the boule or this or that. And I was like, I just don't agree with it. I felt like we had to have money to make sure that we could keep our institutions going. Some of the things that we've done at Asase is during the pandemic, we gave about 50 kids jobs with money that we raised. We started a scholarship program because they started taking away scholarships from our kids. We have our building now, and all of these things cost money. We have our first kids that were in our youngest group when we started our dance school are now graduating. They're graduating high school this year. And we want to send them to college. You know, one is going to Spelman, one is going to Hampton, one is going to Alabama State, one is going to, he wants to go to this graphic design school. I forget the name of it, but they need money. So what are we going to do? We're going to raise the money. How do we raise money? We have great relationships with government funding, with foundations, with corporate. And then our biggest thing that we are setting off for the 25th anniversary is individual donors. Like that is the goal for us, is to set up the individual donors to make sure that people know how to give into their community, into the future. When you look at places like BAM, which I love for hosting Dance Africa for so long, they have people like the Howard Gilman Foundation that give them great support, right? Because they see value in the arts and culture. And it's people around us that could give us great support. You know, Jay-Z's from Marcy. I'll put it out there. He's from Marcy. That's best. You know, he should be able to say, here goes a couple $1,000,000. I see what y'all are doing. It's not going to hurt him or his kids. I'm just putting it out there. And even somebody that's not as popular as him, it's a lot of very wealthy people in Bed-Stuy, Crown Heights, Brownsville that are making a lot of money that could give back. We are really going to establish a much bigger individual donor base this year because we can't let this next generation down. And know that they're going to build something very strong and powerful.
Right.
Thank
You
you.
know what? This is a great segue. This is a great segue for Sakina because we want to be able to have folks also follow us, share, etc. So Sakina, let folks know how they can support us.
I just wanted to say thank you, Ose. Just in terms of your mission, your life's work, and your example that you are setting for others, moving forward. Um, One thing I will say, yes, I pledge for 55. I drive for 55. With festival, we are embarking upon a campaign for people to make a pledge of $55. We're looking for 2,000 people to pledge $55 to festival to sustain. And this is a grassroots movement. That's where we come from. But your institution, Ose, is a perfect and prime example of what can happen within our community moving forward towards the future.
I want to say something while we're on the air. I feel like everybody that sees this that was a part of festival should reach out to 55 people, right? That might be a lot, but we should reach out to 55 people to get $5.55. Every single person that does that, when we see the amount of money that comes in, because nobody can tell us they can't put up $5.55. And that makes it easier for us to get to 55 people. If we do that, we will have thousands of people donate that money, and that amount of money, it could be hundreds of thousands of dollars that come in 1 year based on this. So again, these are ways that we are organizing our people and having them think on a way that is palatable, that they don't have to run away. So that 55, I don't know what the dollar amount is, but just making it even larger would be something that I know that you could put the ticker on the festival website and just see the money coming in. See the money coming in. You get what I'm saying? And that coming in is going to make more people want to give because they know that money is worthy. It's 55 years. Nobody's running.
Hello. Thank you so much, man. That is a wonderful idea.
Yes.
But Sakina, also let folks know how they can continue to support this broadcast, Voices of Festival.
Yes, I just want to reiterate what Naima was saying about Mama Asada Shakur's drive. Because she said something very important and I think it broke up a little bit. But our charge is to merge hip hop with the struggle in terms of freeing the political prisoners. And we can get the hip hop artists to start really speaking to truth to power for our freedom fighters. And so I will say, everyone that is here, can you like, can you comment, can you subscribe to our show, to our hashtags, to our platforms? Our platform is IAA Festival on Facebook and Instagram, and on YouTube, it is Voices of Festival. So please like us, comment. We want to hear from you, and please subscribe. We are shooting for 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So thank you very much.
All right. So we've set some high goals, but we know that they are achievable because we
Mhm.
went from Claver Place to Boys and Girls High and to the Armory. So we know about institution building. Naima,
Mhm.
let's see if you are able to come across now, but just a closing remark again regarding Mama Asada.
Peace, everyone. Can you hear me all right?
Yep. Let's see. Keep
Yes.
going.
Yeah? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I thought it was really important that we pay our due respects to our revolutionary new African freedom fighter and now ancestor, Mama Assata Shakur, extending our full condolences to her family and to her comrades as well, and understanding that it took a very collective effort to make sure that she was able to live a free life and transition as a free woman outside of United States incarceration. And something that I really wanted to connect, which really aligns with the foundation of festival. Baba Segun spoke last week about how festival started as a fundraiser for Uhuru Sasa Shule, and that is very, very much the school of thought that Asada came from as well, by any means necessary. And so when Malcolm X grassroots movement organizers came to Cuba to talk with her, organizers like my parents who attended schools like Uhuru Sasa, who attended the East, who've been to festival, they knew exactly what she was talking about when she said the charge is for us to bridge hip hop culture with the struggle to bring home our political prisoners. These are former Black Panther Party members. These are incarcerated elders who have, trumped up charges, who are really just rotting away in prison. And she made sure that in the 90s, organizers went home and started the Black August Hip Hop Benefit Concert. And
Mm,
this concert series went on for a very long time, and it still exists in many platforms now digitally. But it started as a way to raise funds and awareness to free political prisoners first and foremost. And so these were like mainstream hip hop artists who actually had to take the time and do a free show. And so they definitely came out of the school of knowing about festival and things like that, knowing that their art has to have a message behind it. And music and culture is really what connects our people to one another. And so Mama Sada knew that. And so I'm really grateful to be a student of her students, to be a daughter of organizers who were able to really take her words, take her charge, and bring them to life. And if you've ever been to festival, you've seen the Jericho tent. They'll be out there every year, always making sure that folks don't forget the names of our freedom fighters, making
mm,
sure folks support them and their families always. And if you've been to festival over the past few 5 years, you've seen slowly some of them coming home and just being paraded around festivals like heroes, because they truly are our personal heroes. So growing up in this movement, having our own culture of holidays and people that we celebrate, I think it's really, really important that we take the time to celebrate all of what Mama Asada inspired, and really recognizing how connected it is to what the East created and what Festival created. And that is a way to really bridge our music and culture to empower our people to find a way to move out of struggle.
mhm.
So thank you to
Thank
Mama
you so
Asada.
much.
And like we
Thank you
say,
so
free
much.
them all.
Yeah. Once again, Kofi J. Williams, Executive Director of Asase Yah. Thank you so much, man. And I want you to know how much respect I have for you. Uh, worked with you in the last couple of years and have truly grown to appreciate what you bring to any situation that you are in. And so I want to let you know that the work that you are doing with building this institution and growing it is in keeping with the traditions of the people who have set some solid foundations. So I want to thank you Encourage you to stay the course. Know that festival is always here for you. And likewise, we know that you are here for us. Once again, thank you so much. And you be blessed, man.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
salute you. Thank you.
All right. So we want to thank everybody for joining us, Voices of Festival. We'll be back next week and hope that you will spread the word. I'm encouraging you to get it out there. But also, you know, if you drop us a line, let us know where you are listening or hearing this show from. And also share it. So on behalf of Tina and Naima, I want to thank you all for joining us. And we'll see you all next week. Until then, stay struggling. Peace.
Peace, everyone.
Mhm.